Today's program will feature the City of Aurora's Wellness Court. Established in 2016, the court offers alternatives to incarceration when mental illness issues are present, with programs to help the individual become self-sustaining and productive. To explain the program further is the Wellness Court's presiding judge, Sean Day. Judge Day, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to talk about what we think is a great program for our court and our community.
Yes, it's really a unique program. Why don't you give us a little background about the Wellness Court in Aurora?
Absolutely. We have a problem-solving court that was established by my predecessor, the presiding judge before myself, Judge Richard Weinberg, who had a deep passion for people that were experiencing mental health issues and unfortunately became involved with the criminal justice system. And so this program was really the vision of my predecessor, presiding Judge Weinberg. He started the program, the build out of the program back in 2014, carried it through to 2015, and then we started the court back in 2016. The Wellness Court is it's a problem-solving court that was built out to kind of address a certain population that were really kind of just slipping through the cracks of the criminal justice system, that weren't being treated with the amount of attention and resources that they really truly need. And that's people who are involved in the criminal justice system, who have had numerous contacts with police and fire, and because of their mental health issues that they're dealing with, which also typically will include co-occurring substance abuse issues as well, that were being contacted by either Aurora Fire or Aurora Police and then subsequently brought into the criminal justice system. Now, a typical sentence for somebody who comes into our court would be a fine, potentially, depending on the circumstances, the facts of the case, and all the circumstances that go along with the case, potentially a jail sentence. Obviously, for somebody who's dealing with mental health disabilities or issues and co-occurring substance abuse issues, jail's not the answer to this particular problem or issue. We really needed to do something else. And that, through the vision of Judge Weinberg, was the build out of the Aurora Wellness Court. We would bring somebody in, get them the treatment that they needed. The first phase of the program would really build upon on trying to establish sobriety and stability, and then going from there. He incorporated a true wraparound service type of a program to deal with the individuals, and it really is geared towards the individual as to what they need. Hopefully get them to a point of stability and sobriety, help them if they're unemployed, find employment, if they're unsheltered or homeless, find a home for them, and build upon the individual's successes so that hopefully they break the cycle of being involved with the police and fire and having contacts with them, and then also the cycle of being brought into the criminal justice system.
How do you get those people into the court? I mean, is there a referral system? How does someone qualify for the Wellness Court?
That's a great question. We've set up the eligibility criteria, and really we have a care coordinator for our Wellness Court who will review an individual's case that's filed with our court, look at their criminal history background, the number of police and fire contacts that they may have had, and then do a deep dive into that individual to see what issues that individual is dealing with, their mental health. They'll do an assessment for their mental health needs. They'll do an assessment as it relates to their substance abuse needs, their treatment needs as well. And then they'll present it to our judicial team as to whether or not they should be accepted into the program. We actually have a team, and as you can imagine, That team involves every particular individual that may be involved in the criminal justice system, from a judge to a prosecutor to a public defender, defense attorney, probation department, treatment providers. They all get to weigh in as to the appropriateness for somebody to be accepted into the program. A vote is taken, and if they are voted in, they're accepted into the program.
Wow. Okay. So again, this is a binding court. So you will rule, and subsequently, the treatment that's offered needs to be followed through, right?
That's correct. Yeah, and again, the program is built for the individual, right? It addresses the individual's needs, and it truly is wraparound services. It deals with all the circumstances that a person is dealing with. That is their mental health needs and treatment, substance abuse needs and treatment, housing and employment, everything that you can think of for that individual. They are held to the same standard as anybody else that may be placed on probation regarding compliance. They're expected to meet with the care coordinator, meet with their treatment providers, meet with their probation officers, show up to court when the court requires them to be in court. But the unique thing about the problem-solving court is it's much less formal than the typical type of a court session. The successes of the individual will be celebrated. You will have people that will actually stand up in court and clap and celebrate the successes that a person may have. But the court will also understand that with this type of issue, this type of population, you may experience a couple, 2-3 steps backwards before you have a step forward. And that goes hand in hand with what we're talking about, the mental health and substance abuse issues that a person may be experiencing. So they look to the individual really and trying to treat the individual, and they try to address very specifically those individual needs.
Okay, so typically someone initially comes into the court, you rule on a sentence, so to speak. How many times would you have that person back in the court progress-wise?
Right, and again, that's a really good question. Once they are contacted by our care coordinator, Ken Crawford is our chief care coordinator. He'll meet with them, talk to them about the program, see if they're interested in the program. And part of the requirement of admission into the program is an acknowledgement and a willingness on behalf of the participant to say, yeah, I want to seek help. I want to get treatment. Once they're in the court program, it's left to the individual and the individual needs as to not only treatment, but court appearances. It can really be tailored to that individual. So you may start out attending court on a weekly basis, but as you progress, your stability is established, your sobriety is established. Your court supervision may be less than it would be when you're first accepted into the program. You may be coming to court every other week, depending on circumstance. So it's really, again, built towards the specific needs for that individual.
Okay. Well, again, this really is a problem-solving approach. Some of the statistics I've seen here, up to 64% of inmates have mental health illnesses that are incarcerated. Mental health illness, that's a big thing. And, to approach it by locking somebody up with no treatment just doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
No, it really doesn't. And I think if you ask most people who have been involved in the criminal justice system, I've been involved with the criminal justice system since 1992. As a judge, I've been a judge for over 20 years. I don't think I ever want to see somebody sentenced to jail because of their mental health disabilities. The jail system, really the criminal justice system, is not built to treat and when I say treat, is to treat mental health by the imposition of jail. We don't want to see people locked up because of their mental health disabilities. It should be treated. And that's really one of the key linchpins of this particular program, is try to treat the individual to keep them from a sentence of jail or incarceration.
Right. So you're actually solving a lot of problems in one: homelessness, addiction, the work aspect, which is critical to be able to have a job and become self-sustaining. So you called it a wraparound program, and it really is.
Absolutely. Yeah. We just had a graduation last week. And if you could have seen from where this person started to the point that they graduated, it's been life-changing, the program. I mean, we were able to establish stability and sobriety for her, help her with her housing, help her with her employment needs. And that's really the great thing about the program, is when you get to see the progress and then they get to the point of graduation and the life-changing things that have been provided, and that they have done themselves, the successes that they've built upon themselves, it really changes their lives. And it's so satisfying to see.
Right, right. And this is actually cost effective, isn't it?
For sure, absolutely. If you break it down to the number of police and fire contacts, and the amount of time and resources that it takes for each and every one of those police and fire contacts, and you weigh that, the expense of police or fire being called out, dealing with the people for the amount of time that they have to deal with them, potentially taking action, either in the way of if there is criminal activity, potentially arresting them, or if there's a need for transport to the hospital because of medical needs and such, it really adds up. And if we can get people to a point of, again, stability and sobriety, addressing their individual needs to where you cut down on those contacts, it really does save money.
I understand you're putting together a new court that's going to treat veterans.
In fact, we are in the midst of, in the early stages of the build out of a veterans treatment court. In fact, we've titled our veterans treatment court a little bit differently. It's actually going to be titled the Aurora Armed Forces Treatment Court. That's going to be dealing specifically with veterans and service members. It could be active military or any service member. We're in the process of building that out, similar to in the same vision as our wellness court. We're looking forward to the establishment of that court as well. Hopefully, the first part of the year, January 2021, we'll have it up and running. So we're looking forward to the build out of that court as well.
You have any final thoughts for us today?
Well, again, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to talk about our problem-solving court, the wellness court. It's been a huge success for us. We look forward to continuing to build upon the court and continuing to help people. And that's really what we're here for. And that is to break the cycle of people who are involved in the criminal justice system, try to get them out as fast as we can from their involvement in the criminal justice system, and to really provide help for them.
Thanks again for taking the time to share this information about the Aurora Wellness Court.
Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.